a Giants fan and a Jet fan podcast. A podcast boasting listeners from over 30 countries across 6 continents and ranking in the top 20% of all podcast listenership. Are you ready to meet your podcasters? The man who has never known gridiron success in his lifetime. The man who considers Joe Namath his favorite drunken uncle. The man who has no choice but to root for that dick, Aaron Rodgers. With the best head of hair inside of 50, Giants fans love to hate him as much as he actually hates Aaron Rodgers. Mr. J-E-T-S, Jets, Angry Jets fan. No! From the splendor of Lincroft, New Jersey, he spends his days writing hate mail to Booker McFarland and Dan Orlovsky. This man is your traditionalist NFL fan who believes the game belongs on Sundays and wishes they'd go back to leather helmets, Stickum, and CTE. The first of your die-hard Giants fans coming in with fervor, the one and only angry Giants fan, should be rated higher than Tom Brady. And Tom Coughlin higher than Vince Lombardi. You'll find him barking about FanDuel ruining the NFL as we know it. The man who daydreams about Penei Sewell and other fake scrapping offensive linemen wearing giant blue. Hailing from Brooklyn, New York. Your fearless leader of this ragtag bunch of delusional sports fans, the man who has hated referees ever since one stole his ice cream cone as a small boy, and is convinced the Giants have never lost a game that wasn't due to officiating. The guy that Plaxico Burress calls his most trusted advisor, the man you should propose fantasy football trades to and he's been drinking, originating from Elmira, New York, angry Giants fan.
So we are the 3 Angry Giant fans and a Jets fan, as you heard. I'm my host, Scott. We got Giant Mike Cardone and Angry Jets fan Novak, and we are really excited to be here tonight. I'll explain how we had our origin story, how I got the group together. I'm the glue.
Volume. Turn the volume.
Yeah. Mike's on.
Hold it close.
Is it good?
Yeah.
All right.
Angry.
Woo! So I'm the glue that sort of hold everyone together because I knew Mike. I moved down here in 1994, And he came down from Conklin, New York, outside of Binghamton. I came from Elmira, like we mentioned on the intro. And I worked with Cardone. And so he and I would talk about the Giants. We would eat lunch together, do a lot of things. And then we were in Matthews here in North Carolina. And that's where I met Novak. We were here at Matthews Presbyterian. I see Howie. I see a couple of people here from Matthews Presbyterian. And from there, we got together for a fantasy football draft one time. Geez, I'm not used to the mic. We got together for a fantasy football draft, and I brought Cardone and Novak together, and they realized they were from the same hometown. And from there, I have no idea how two guys from Lincroft were together for me, and we just got together with Mike. And from then, it's been the Giant fans and the Jets fans. So we're excited to have everyone out tonight. It's a good night. It actually cooled down a little bit. We're very thankful for having Rob and Carolina Beer Temple and Chris, our DJ, helping out. We do have some featured beers on tap, so if you go and get an Angry Football Fan beer, it's $5. There's wine tasting, I think, still going on for about another 15 minutes or so. But other than that, we'll start out with a shout-out that we always do every time for the podcast. Also, when you guys, if you want to submit questions, we'll answer questions at the end of the podcast. So you can either hold them till the end, or if you want to write them down and bring them up to us at any point during the pod, that would be great. So let me give a shout out, and this one's particularly local, and I know this week's Matthews Alive, so hello, Matthews, North Carolina! It was officially called Stumptown, which is why there's Stumptown Park over here. And it was named Matthews in honor of Ed Matthews, who was director, you're going to get this, of Seaboard Air Red Line Railroad. So Seaboard, there you go on the side. Little known fact, all four of us lived in Matthews at one point in time in our lives. And Matthews Alive is actually the largest celebration in the Southeast for Labor Day. So I know you might not want to be down here on Saturday, but it's a great time to be in Matthews. And one of their famous citizens is Brooklyn Decker. So if I could explain the podcast a little bit, we are unscripted. We all became fans in different ways. So I became a fan because of my father and my uncles sitting around during the mid-'70s when the Giants were terrible. And we just formed a bond. I would watch them commiserate and just became a fan from that. And I'll turn it over to Mike for the way he became a fan.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. Very similar to Scott. I started out when I first started liking football. My dad was a big Giants fan, so normally I would have picked like the Jets or the Bills, but there was something about the lovable losers, the late 70s. Those guys couldn't find their own shoes to get on the field, so that just became a love, and it was so great to watch him turn it over and become one of the 4-time Super Bowl champions in my life. Pretty awesome.
So I want to start by just saying thank you to the Carolina Beer Temple, thank you to Matthews, thank you to everybody coming out tonight. This is just fantastic. I'm just thrilled that we can say goodbye to the preseason in a week or so. Are we ready for real football? My God, is there anything worse than watching preseason football? We'll get into that a little bit here in the next hour, but I'm just thrilled that we don't have to suffer through that nonsense anymore. So, but meeting Scott down here, I've been in Charlotte 27 years, hard to believe, and I brought my Giant fandom down from Lincroft, New Jersey. My family roots come from Brooklyn, New York originally, and my it goes back to, I'm a Giant fan thanks to my uncle and my father. But my uncle was a bit older than my dad, and he became a Giant fan long before the NFL was really popular, probably back in the 50s.
Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan. Everybody knows Uncle Dan. You do now, so we need a tribute page on our website to Uncle Dan, because he started all this anger and everything else, and the joy of watching this New York Giants, football team that I've grown to love. But it started out, my dad and my uncle, growing up in Brooklyn, New York. Google this now if you care to. They were at what is considered the NFL's greatest game ever played. So that game was the 1958 NFL championship game. I don't think it's the greatest game because the Giants lost to the Baltimore Colts. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's widely considered the greatest game. But it's kind of cool just to say my uncle and my father were at this game. If you Google the pictures from this thing, it looks like something from 1912 or some shit. So that's how old I am, to give you a little clue on that. And my uncle had the foresight or something to purchase 4 season tickets to the New York Giants in around the 60s, before my brother and I even came around. My uncle didn't have kids of his own, so he certainly, my older brother Greg and I were like sons to him. So it was my dad, my uncle, and my brother. And we started going to Giant games, probably around 1981 was my first memory, and that's when the Giants started to get good in the 80s, winning Super Bowls and such. So my fandom goes back to the 80s, and it's really due to my Uncle Dan and my father. God, rest in peace, both of them. But and I've had a love affair with this team ever since. I brought my fandom down to Charlotte, North Carolina region, and I get asked often, Cardone, what's your second favorite team, besides the Giants? Panthers might be an answer, and my answer is always the same for whatever, my whole life. I'm like, none. I love the Giants, and I hate 31 other teams, including the Cowboys, the Eagles, and everyone else in the NFC. So, go Giants.
Go Giants!
To Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan.
So as the lone Jet fan in this podcast, don't even ask how I got involved, but many people always ask me, I say, why are you a Jets fan? Because as we know, they suck and have forever. But the reality is, my father was a huge Joe Namath Jets fan, and so I was born into Jet fandom, sadly. And my first memory is piling up pillows while my father was watching the Jet game and diving into it, pretending I was going to get a touchdown. And sadly, I never got a touchdown, so that should have been a foreshadow of how bad the Jets would be for my whole life. And I've had this scarlet letter for 53 years of being a Jets fan, and I grew up in a Giants town with Cardone and Lincroft, which he can attest to. My college was a Giants town. The Jets played in Giants Stadium, and now I'm on a freaking podcast. It's called 3 Angry Giants Fans and a Jets fan. So yet again, I'm in the shadow of the freaking Giants. So such is my life. I'm the little brother, so yes.
And by the way, we just added that and a Jets fan this year. We've been we're in season 5 of the podcast, and 4 years we went without having a Jets fan, so it's been good.
You couldn't go another year without me, is what you're saying, right?
It certainly makes us look more like winners in the New York football market than having a Jet fan on the podcast. So Novak, thank you for joining us.
So we normally go into the X's and O's of the games that have happened. We're not going to do that for the crowd here. We're going to keep it a little bit more light. So tonight we're going to do predictions to start off. First for the season for the Giants Jets. I'm going to start with Mike on the predictions.
Put me on the spot right off the bat. I think the Giants are going to be better. They almost have to be better than last year, but I still don't see them kind of getting over the hump to the playoffs and all that. So I'm gonna set my prediction at a conservative 8-9. Is that right? Math work out on that?
17 games, yes.
Yeah, 17 games. So I'm going 8-9. I think they're gonna win some games they shouldn't. I think they're gonna lose some games they shouldn't, and probably end up right around there in 500. I think to catch a couple breaks, could be looking at 9 wins. If you catch a lot of breaks, maybe 10, but I don't say anything beyond that. Oh, the Jets? 1-16. No, the Jets are going to be a good team. They got an awesome defense.
Well, they don't play us, Mike, so I don't know where the 1 win's coming from.
Where are they going to get that win? Yeah. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers believer. Sorry, Novak. I'm just not. I think he was done before he got hurt, and now he's even more done. So We'll see what they can do at the quarterback position. But I'm gonna give the Jets 11 wins. I'm gonna say they're gonna be 11-7. The defense is gonna carry them. They're gonna be good.
I'm always the optimistic one in the group. So for me, the Giants are going to go 10-7 this year. They're going to be a wild card. I said a couple podcasts ago that Dallas is going to win the division. So that means for the Eagle fans here that they're not going to make the playoffs from my predictions. For the Jets, Mike and I have talked about this. I see Aaron Rodgers. He's hit the hill. He's going downhill. He didn't play last year after 4 snaps and a snap of the Achilles. And for me, I see the Jets being a 8-9 team. So I also see the Bills winning that division and the Dolphins contending for it. So and I'll also give one more prediction, since we also have. Yes, we have a Bills fan behind us, by the way. I'll also mention this too, since we have some Panther fans in the crowd. I think the Panthers are going to get 3 wins this year.
So Cardone's going to let me go next. So when I look at the NFL for this year, I always look at who are the best teams, who are the worst teams, and who is smack dab in the middle. And I think the Giants are the most average team in the history of the NFL. So I think they are a solid 8-9, so I'm going to agree with Mike. I don't think they do anything actually well. I don't think they do anything actually poorly. They're just very freaking average. So I'm going to put the Giants at 8-9. Now, for my Jets. I have been a downtrodden, beaten down Jets fan my whole life, and it is time for me to actually believe in my team. For 53 years, I was going to every year saying they're going to suck. But actually this year, I think the Jets are going to win the division. They're going to be 11-6, and they are going to surprise many teams. We've got a great defense. We've got a Hall of Fame freaking quarterback.
Oh, stop it. You hate him.
I do hate him, but he's still my quarterback. He's my quarterback. So I do love him now. So yes, and they've got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, a lot of weapons on offense. So I put the Jets at a solid 11-6. And we'll talk about later where I think they're going to fall in the overall scheme of the NFL.
So during the introductions, I heard the word delusional mentioned at least once to describe these clowns to my left, my Giant fan comrades, and I don't know where you got anyone who. So after tonight, you got to become listeners of this podcast, because I'm the pessimistic guy of the group. A lot of people who know me closely, and there's a few of them out there. They know me as far as my pessimism with not just the Giants, every one of my sports teams. I won championships amazingly, but still, somehow my pessimism and my anger and my negativity seeps its way in. But you guys have them winning double-digit games and making playoffs and stuff like that. Where's it coming from? Who? Daniel Jones on one leg, and we lost Saquon Barkley to our shredded rivals over there. I see that awful green color, which just makes me want to vomit. So, the Giants this year, no Barkley. I don't know how much they've improved in some of their, offensive line woes that we've had for years. I don't know why we can't get that figured out and straightened out. I got the Giants, and this is even probably an overshoot here. I got them at 7-10, missing the playoffs again. That's actually an improvement from last year. They were 6-11. I'm sorry, an extra game, by the way, to 17 weeks. I still can't get used to that nonsense. I'm still trying to figure out. We got an odd number of games, so the Giants, we play 17 games. This is the year the NFC has that extra home game or some bullshit. So I give the Giants an extra win from last year simply because they're playing at MetDef. By the way, for listeners of the podcast, I refer to MetLife Stadium, where the Giants and Jets both think they're home. It's really MetDef because the Giants seem to have a horrible record there over the last, since that stadium was built back in 2010. God, I miss the old Giants Stadium. So I got the Giants at 7-10, missing the playoffs, and my Jet man over here, I can't root for the Dick. You know how much I hate that guy, but Novak's my guy. He's my hometown guy. I do have the Jets also at 11-6. I don't know about winning the division. Why not? So I think Buffalo also finishes 11-6, but I'm going to give the tiebreaker based on whatever one of those tiebreakers is, and I got the Jets winning the AFC East. and I got the Giants picking somewhere in the draft. Who the hell cares? I don't know. So we need a new quarterback. We need a bunch of new shit. So I got the Giants missing the playoffs as usual. So I'll be angry again. Good material for the podcast. So continue to listen the rest of this year and next year. It'll be entertaining. Yeah.
So we were talking about earlier having a beer inside for the angry football fans. We talked about this earlier, having our favorite Giant or Jet and what a beer name could possibly be for them. I'm going to go to Mike first.
Oh, man. This is going to have to change. I don't like being put on the spot every time here. I think it's shown up by Cardone. You know, it takes a 10-minute rant.
I usually do.
So my beer is going to be an oatmeal stout, and it's going to be named after Mark Bavaro, one of the great Giants of all time, tight end. The reason I picked an oatmeal stout for Bavaro is they're kind of hard to get down, much like my man Bavaro was. And we're going to name this beer the Rambo Stout for the Giant fans out there who know about Rambo and Mark Bavaro back in the 80s. As a side note here, I've got an 8.9 ABV on that stout because he wore 89. So that's my beer. Mark Bavaro, hard to get down, Rambo Stout. No one can actually drink it, which is good because it's an 8.9 ABV.
Novak? Yeah, so mine, if you know the Jets, one player comes to mind when you think of the Jets, and that's the great Joe Namath, right? He guaranteed Super Bowl III. He's the patron saint of the Jets, but he's known for two things. One, he's known for winning the Super Bowl in 1969, and I've not been able to see one in my lifetime, but he did win the Super Bowl. And he's also known for drunkenly hitting on Susie Culper on national television. So if I can do the impression, it went something along the lines of, how are the Jets going to be this year, Joe? And he said, I want to kiss you. I could care less about the Jets. So, because of that, I am calling it the Joe Namath Hazy IPA.
I have several all-time favorite New York Giant players. Being the fact that we've won 4 Super Bowls, it's so difficult to pick from any one of those championship-winning teams. I'm sure everyone else can relate to that in the crowd here. But I settled on my all-time favorite. I'm wearing his jersey, by the way. Eli Manning, of course. I mean, the great Eli Manning. You know, he was known, during his playing days, he was known as Easy E to his teammates in the locker room, and well known that he's an easygoing guy. We all know kind of his personal demeanor. So he's kind of easy, chill, cool Eli. So I figured that he's a lager. You know, lager's an easy drinking, kind of a smooth drinking lager, light beer sort of thing. And with that, I figured I'm holding a lager right now, so the color kind of looks gold to me. So Eli would be a lager, and the name of my beer for Eli would be the Gold Jacket, because he's going to be wearing a gold jacket next summer when he's inducted into the Hall of Fame in Canton. And I'm going to be there. Woo!
I think at least 3/4 of us are going to be there, aren't we? Thank you, Steve. So with this,
Darren the intern right there for you Seinfeld fans. That's him. Thank you, Darren. Okay? Don't need to worry about it. Don't worry about us. He's not to worry about, but yeah, thank you.
and this is a little bit lighter than the beer I'm going to talk about. So my favorite Giant, Lawrence Taylor. And the beer named after him would be the Barley Sack. And with the Barley Sack, we know Lawrence Taylor likes a certain type of person, so this alcohol content's going to be in the teens. So we're thinking 14% Lawrence Taylor, the Barley Sack. So one thing we also do as a podcast every week is we do pet peeves. And it could span anything. It's not always football. It could be society. It could be whatever. So this year, or for this podcast, we're going to do pet peeves, and I'm going to start off with Novak.
Okay, I love the pet peeve segment of the podcast. I'm an angry guy. I'm a Jets fan, and I need to get my anger out every week and just verbalize that. So if you go to our website, angryfootballfans.com, you will see a number of our rants and pet peeves and things that we get angry about. And last year, I started off a angry pet peeve about sideline reporters. So you know these sideline reporters in the NFL, right? The ones that have the most useless job in all of media. So my rant back then was that these sideline reporters ask these ridiculous, mundane, insane questions that coaches don't want to answer. And I'm pretty certain at this point that Roger Goodell and the NFL listen to our podcast. Because they now instituted where the coaches must talk to the sideline reporters in the fourth quarter of an NFL game. What are we doing? Stop with these sideline reporters. So I'm going to do a little impression of how these sideline reporter discussions are going to go. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Jim Nantz, Tracy Wolfson, and I'm going to use my friend Charlie's Andy Reid as the head coach. Okay, starting with Jim Nantz. Tracy, down to you for a sideline report. Andy, the Chiefs are tied with the Broncos going into the fourth quarter. How are you going to win this game? Well, Tracy, the goal for us is to score more points than the Broncos going into the fourth quarter. So if we can score a touchdown and a field goal, and we can stop them from getting a touchdown and a field goal, we think we're going to be able to come out on top. So, Andy, I saw you talking to your team over there before the fourth quarter. What did you say to them? Well, Tracy, I said to the defense, if you see a guy carrying the ball, tackle him, because we don't want him getting into the end zone and potentially scoring a touchdown. And I told the offense, if by any chance you have an opportunity to carry the ball, try to get into the end zone. So, thank you, Andy. Back to you, Jim. Thank you, Tracy, for that insightful research and journalism. So that's how this is going to go. If anyone watches these games, just watch and listen how ridiculous these questions are. No one wants to talk to these people. It's the most useless job in all of media. So that's my pet peeve.
Let's go to Mike.
Thank you. So my pet peeve sort of revolves around the media a little bit, which I hope I'm not stealing any of Cardone's thunder here, but kind of the same effect that Novak was talking about is, you know, we have these pregame shows, and when I was growing up, it was about a half hour, and it was awesome, and you had to watch that before the game, and everyone wanted to, and it was fun. And they got to be about an hour, and that was still okay. Now there's 4 hours of pregame. And they're talking about, you know, in a week with no buys, we're talking about 16 football games. So they talk about every game individually, they go through it all in depth, but it all comes back to one thing. At the end of the thing, they're saying, okay, so who's going to win today? Well, I'll tell you, the team that runs the ball and stops the other team from running the ball will probably win this game. That is universal football. Everybody knows that. I don't think we need 4 hours of pregame about every game to tell us that that's going to be the situation. Every high school pee-wee coach knows that. You run the ball and stop the run. So we have to listen to that for 4 hours now. And the other thing about the media that drives me a little bit crazy is when they lecture us, like, you know, a team who was supposed to be good isn't very good, or vice versa. And they come out and they act like they knew that the whole time. You know, they're like, well, this shouldn't surprise anybody. You know, you guys all underrated the Raiders this year or whatever. And it's like, our voice doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we think. You told us they were going to stink. Like, why is it? Why are you lecturing me about this now? I hate that. I absolutely hate it. And it goes, you know, it's not like there was some grassroots movement without the media's involvement to decide that Justin Fields was going to be good. You know, the media told us he was awesome. And so a lot of people believe that, and now the media says, oh, you never should have thought he was awesome. We knew the whole time going into this that he wasn't going to be very good. So, yeah, pay attention to, or don't pay attention to the media. Do what I do, which is I try to turn the TV on right as the toe is hitting the leather for this ridiculous, stupid new kickoff that we have to deal with now. So just try to time it. I can tell you guys, it's usually, if the game starts at 1, it's like 1:07. I know that. That's experience from talking about it. Don't listen to them. I'm telling you today, they're going to say, run the ball and stop the run. That's all you need to know.
And I would tell you, if you're able to, go out into YouTube or our Buzzsprout, actually where you get your podcast from, we have a good rant. Cardone has a good rant about the whole situation last week with
the NFL kickoff. and doesn't resemble anything I grew up with. I'm not sure what I'm even watching there. So go listen to that one. It might be entertaining. I find it entertaining. I watch it when I'm alone by myself and just laugh uncontrollably. So, I think it's kind of funny. So, to piggyback on Mike's pet peeve a little bit. Again, this is our favorite segment. How did the pet peeve start, guys? I think we just start maybe season 1. We wasn't intentional. It was something that was unscripted. We started, by the way, in a garage somewhere. We were like a 2.5-piece band, not knowing what the hell we were doing. Didn't have an agent, didn't have a manager. And it kind of started out as a three-piece band in a garage. And now look at us now. We're like mini celebrities here at the Carolina Beer Temple. Somehow, my friends over here, texted us a screenshot that we were on the local Spectrum News channel yesterday for community. So if you showed up, for those of you that showed up by seeing us on the Spectrum News channel events page, please raise your hand. Why not? There you go. At least 2. So I thought, I had no idea. I saw this thing. I'm like, where did that word leak out somehow? I'm like, I've been asked, like, Cardone, do you guys do this in a studio somewhere? Do you have professional equipment? I'm like, no, man. I'm usually in my underwear, like at home, like just in a bedroom somewhere on my like $5 headpiece. Like, what are you talking about? So we're on our way. So what was I gonna do with my pet peeve? Right? Okay, yeah, okay. So, Scott, look at this. I'm out of beer. I need someone else. I don't know. Let me try that hazy IPA. Let me try this. What is this, Darren?
The Joe Namath IPA.
This is the Joe Namath IPA? So this is, okay. Never mind. I'm going to go with my Eli Manning. I'm going to go with the gold jacket. So whoever's listening behind the bar over there, this is going to become the gold jacket next year. Please make a note of that. Tastes like a 2-time MVP champion right there. I don't know. So that's some good stuff. So my pet peeve, and Scott and our intern highlighted this on our webcast, or our website rather, that I despise the sports media. So I'm going to maybe jump on Mike's pet peeve here a little bit, but week in and week out, I could say something about the sports media and how much I despise it and how brutal it is every single week. So I have a number of pet peeves. So I narrowed it down to this one, and bear with me on this, everybody. But I saw a headline, I think it was yesterday, and it was what we learned from the NFL this preseason. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the time to read this. So there's a number of bullet points here. Number 1, again, the question is what we learned from the NFL preseason. Number 1, who wins the starting job in Pittsburgh? I don't know. That sounds like you're asking me a question. I don't know if they do this as teachers, like when they're teaching something. Who won the Civil War? Don't you learn that fact in the classroom? So, I don't know. So what we learned from the NFL preseason, so the first one, who wins the starting job in Pittsburgh? Well, it means we didn't learn anything in Pittsburgh. You either have a washed-up old quarterback in Russell Wilson, or you have a guy that shouldn't even be in the league, who apparently is competing for the number 1 job, or at best, he should be your RB1. That's running back 1, by the way. So, because he's more of a running back than a quarterback. I'm talking about Justin Fields, of course. Number 2, the Bears are contenders. To do what? Based on what? Caleb Williams, who's a rookie, he threw a total of 20 passes in the preseason, completing 10 of them, which I can even do that math. That's 50%. That kind of sucks for a quarterback. So somehow the Bears are contenders. All right, fine. The article said so it's on the internet. Fine. Okay. So number 3. There's 70s, by the way, so bear with me. Number 3. The potential is real in Houston. That's the Texans, by the way. As opposed to fake potential? Potential's real. Potential is potential. What gave that away? Yeah, we kind of knew that by them making the playoffs last year when they won the division. So, yeah, we know about that. Number 4. Anthony Richardson could be a top 20 quarterback. Great. There's 32 teams in the league. That means he'd be better than 37.5% of the starting quarterbacks in the league. Is that the guy I want on my team? If I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan, do I want a top 20 quarterback? Or if I'm drafting a fantasy quarterback, Anthony Richardson's my guy. He's better than 37% of the league. So yeah, go with him. Okay. Number 5. Patrick Mahomes is the best passer in the league. Yeah! We've seen him win multiple Super Bowls and championships. Oh, wait a minute. This is about that 3-yard behind the back pass that he threw? Which, is he wearing a Harlem Globetrotter uniform that I didn't see? So, yeah, we didn't know about his ability to throw a football until that pass. Until we saw that. Yeah, we got it. Patrick Mahomes is pretty good. Thank you. That's what we learned in the preseason. Number 6. Bo Nix might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Okay. Number 7. Trey Lance is not worth the hype. What hype? I didn't know there was any surrounding Trey Lance. Never heard of any hype surrounding a third-string quarterback. These are the highlights from this article that got printed. And as I've said today, my podcast guys, I could write. I could be a sports journalist. I could officiate games. I could be a head coach. I could be an OC, a DC. I could cheerlead. I could sell you hot dogs in this. I could park cars, sell you tickets. This is what's on the internet out there. Someone decided to post this, and there was an editor saying somewhere, yeah, go ahead with that. That looks really good. That's an interesting article. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that'll get everyone thinking. That's good thoughts. There's my pet peeve. Thank you.
I always hate following Cardone, but well, mine actually sort of dovetails from what he was saying. So my pet peeve is just in the preseason, sticking with the narratives there instead of facts. So everyone in the NFL was down on Daniel Jones last week for throwing 2 interceptions. He threw 2 interceptions in a preseason game, which apparently very, very poor. That's bad. That can't happen. I watched highlights on Monday this past week of Trey Lance talking about how he threw for 300 yards. He ran for 90 yards. He had touchdowns. I didn't hear anything about the fact that he threw 5 interceptions.
We hate the Cowboys!
5 interceptions, which, by the way, ties a record for the most interceptions in a preseason game. So I didn't know that until I was like, oh my God, Trey Lance looks pretty good. Maybe he's going to take the starting job. Then I started looking at the stats a little bit further, saw that he had 5 interceptions. So the highlights are all positive, and this is what we're left with. This is the preseason that we have.
Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions. We didn't hear anything about that. No. So one of the things we wanted to do tonight, we have some giveaways up here. We wanted to do some trivia questions. So we're going to do, each of us is going to do a Giants or Jets specific trivia question and then an NFL question. And then we're going to give away some gear here. So I'm going to start with Novak on this.
All right. So I'm going to start with my Jets question. Now remember, these guys are going to judge who's the first hand up as to who gets to answer said question. All right? Yeah, you guys are judging. Stop drinking the beer. All right. On November 22nd in 2012, in a game against the New England Patriots, quarterback Mark Sanchez took a snap and ran into the ass of one of his own offensive linemen. He then fumbled the ball, and the Patriots picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. What was that famous play called?
Yeah.
You're correct. That sounds about right. The Jets associated with an ass. That's good.
Yes.
Good job. Congratulations.
Get your free beer. Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you get a free beer.
Oh yeah, by the way, you can take that mug, that glass mug, whatever, take it inside, you can get an Angry Football Fans free IPA.
Well, make sure the logo of the 3 Angry Giant fans of your fans facing.
Yes, face the logo to said bartender, thank you.
Are we doing both?
I guess I'm going 2 in a row. Okay. So, this is a Carolina Panther trivia question. Are we ready for this? In their inaugural season in 1995, the Carolina Panthers, following an 0-5 start to the season, won their first game on October 15th by a score of 26-15 over what team?
Jets.
That is correct. New York Jets. Yet again, another great example of why the Jets are in the history of the NFL. They lost their first
How did
game.
you get that?
Does anyone know the quarterback of the Jets of that game?
95?
Because this is a good name. It's a great football name. Anyone know? Or an extra glass?
What was the year?
1995.
Brownie Nagel?
No, his name was Bubby Brister. So, just so you know, the Jets did have a quarterback named Bubby Brister. So, thank you.
Let's go to Mike.
I did not get the memo about a NFL question, so I apologize.
Darren! Darren, what are you doing?
Come on. You know.
I need a beer.
All right. The 1990 football Giants are one of only 2 teams to ever win a conference championship game without scoring a touchdown. Matt Barr went 5 for 6 on field goals that day and kicked a field goal as time expired to beat this team 15-13 and advance to the Super Bowl. What team did they beat?
Yankee fan right there.
49ers is correct.
Very impressive.
My favorite road game of all time.
Yeah.
They scored a touchdown.
Great game. Awesome game.
Good work.
All right, second question. At the end of the 2005 season, in Eli Manning's first ever playoff start, the Giants lost 23-0 at home to the Carolina Panthers in one of the most embarrassing possible
Get her out.
home playoff games. What Panther player scored the only 2 touchdowns of that game, 1 rushing and 1 receiving? Steve Smith is correct.
Yes. Chicago!
Guys, pull it out.
Wait, was it Steve Smith Jr. or
You
Steve
Googled
Smith
that.
Sr.?
Put your phone up. I'm sorry, this section has put your phones away. No! How did he get in?
So I'm going to do the NFL question first. And this one is always a favorite of mine. So you guys that listen to the podcast know this already. But there's only been one team in the history of the NFL, of all the years we've been in existence, who has not had back-to-back winning seasons. Who would that be? The Panthers! There we go!
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, come on down!
Hey, Randy, where are you on that one?
Gotta drive them.
If you look at it, the Panthers have been in existence since, I think, 1994. They have not, 1995, they've not had back-to-back winning seasons. By the way, that first year in 95 was going to be my other trivia question on who they played in the opener and who they won with. But they played in Clemson. They lost to the Rams in the opening game. This one is going to be a really tough one. We may not get this, so any answer would be good. So the Giants and Jets have both drafted a legally blind player in their history. Does anyone know either one of them?
We got over here.
Wesley Walker.
Yes.
Wesley Walker's the Jets. Do we have anyone that knows the Giant?
The number 5 draft pick of that year.
It's a legally blind player. No, the Giants drafted Cedric Jones as a defensive end who is legally blind. So, Greg Nelson, come up and get your prize.
Yeah, good one. Yeah. Wesley Walker, number 85.
All right, staying with the theme of the Carolina Panthers, our home team here. First question. In 1996, this quarterback led the Panthers to their first ever playoff appearance and win in franchise history. Then 4 years later, during the 2000 season, led the New York Giants to Super Bowl 35, a game in which I was at. Who's that quarterback? Gary Collins, Penn State Red, right there. Maybe that was too easy. Larry got that correct, and his hand was up early. That was easy. Kerry Collins, who went, by the way, when they signed Kerry Collins, I was like, oh my God, not Collins. Guy sucks. And then he led us to a Super Bowl. Which, by the way, I'll add a little footnote here. Giants have been in 5 Super Bowls, which we all know. They won 4 of them. Sorry, you got to beer with this stuff. And guess which one I was at? Yes, back there in the Giant jersey. Yes, I was at Super Bowl 35 in Tampa, Florida to watch him get annihilated by the Baltimore Ravens 34-7. So, there you go. I was at that Super Bowl instead of the other 4. But I don't want to digress here. Number 2. In a 2018 game, this Carolina Panther field goal kicker drilled a 63-yard game-winning field goal on the last play of the game, defeating the New York Giants 33-31, causing me to throw up for 10 minutes straight. That kicker now plays for the New York Giants and causes me to throw up when he misses kicks. Who is that kicker? Beckham. Odell Beckham. Graham Gano. Yes, sir. Yes. Which I had to endure thousands of Carolina Panther fans that day while Graham Gano somehow not only did he drill a 63-yarder, that thing would have been good from like 72. Yeah. Cursing his name for years. I was throwing up for about an hour, 10 minutes according to my notes here, so maybe 10 minutes. And then, yeah, now he kicks for the New York Giants, so making me throw up when he misses kicks. Graham Gano, still a New York Giant. Yeah. Those are my questions, Scott. We have 3 classes here, so I don't know if we have to do a bonus round or an honorable mention or, I don't know, maybe a foot race up to the top. I'm not sure how we're going to do these.
I think we just had extra up here. So, we wanted to give you guys some visibility to upcoming events here at the Carolina Beer Temple. So on September 5th, they're going to have a Keepsake Mug Club. On September 6th, the Oyster Roast 5. It is sold out, but if you do have tickets, please come. They do have comedy night every other Monday, and Oktoberfest will start on 9/21, and the mainline market will start on 9/28. So from that, we'll go into season predictions. We did our Giants and Jets predictions, but we always do Super Bowl predictions every year. So I'm going to start with our Jets fan Novak on the season predictions.
The Eagles are not going to be in that, just so you know. So, my Super Bowl predictions. I always look at the NFL and try to figure out who has made the next step to be the team that could go there. And there is one team in the NFC, I'll start with the NFC, that has a great defense, has a coach that takes chances, is due beyond belief even more than the Jets. And I'm going to say, with my boy Ted Majinski over here, the Detroit Lions are going to be in the Super Bowl. So that's the NFC pick. Now when we look at the AFC, obviously there's a lot more competition in the AFC because it's an exceptionally better conference than the crap teams that are in the NFC. So when I take a look at the AFC in general, there's a number of things and other factors that I put into play. Number 1, who has the best defense in the AFC? I'm going to say it's my New York Jets. I'm also going to say, who has a Hall of Fame quarterback under center? My New York Jets. You be quiet here. Who also has star skilled players like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall? My New York Jets. And then finally, what freaking team is due to be in this Super Bowl? My New York Jets. So does anyone know the Jets chant, by the way? No. So I'm going to get up here, I'm going to do this Jets chant. It's J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Can you please all do this with me? Make me feel good. I'm tired of being a downtrodden, beaten down fan. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets, Jets! New York Jets tonight Lions, the loser Super Bowl of our history, and the New York Jets will win the Super Bowl.
And that concludes our podcast.
We're not going to recover.
Cardone?
Here we go, delusional again. My goodness. I've got the Giants beating the Jets in the Super Bowl.
Wait, are we giving him another beer?
Yeah, I don't know. He needs one of those name it hazy IPAs. Yeah, I got the Giants beating their Jets. If this was the Bizarro world on Seinfeld with Kevin and Gene and who was the other guy? Feldman. Yeah. No, I have. Without getting into all the reasons why, I do have Detroit in the Super Bowl, like you mentioned. I think, we showed. I love Dan Campbell, by the way. He's an ex-Giant during his playing days, and so I like the Detroit Lions. However, I have them losing to the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't have a great reason other than, I don't know, maybe Lamar Jackson might be due. I do hate Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of people I hate, but that's beside the point. Somebody's got to win this thing. It's not my team. As I mentioned earlier, I hate 31 other teams, so I'll be miserable no matter what happens, because I won't be watching any Giant football in January and February. But I kind of just thought about this tonight, actually, and for some reason, I don't know why, my pen just decided to write down Baltimore beating Detroit. I don't even have a score. I don't have a reason. But that's my prediction. So you heard this here, so go to your bookie, go to Vegas, go to wherever you put down hard-earned money. Go the opposite of what I said. So do not pick the Ravens as your Super Bowl champion, because I don't want to be held responsible for that, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I've never won anything as far as gambling, and I don't, but the Ravens over the Lions, Scott. Yeah.
And it's not like there's been DraftKings commercials or anything like that in North Carolina for a while. But I'm going to give it to Mike.
All right, thanks. I'm going to start in the AFC, and I like Baltimore. I like Baltimore a lot. I probably am not picking him right now because Cardone just did, so I just kind of changed my mind. But I like the Buffalo Bills to make it to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. And then we'll talk about who's going to win the Super Bowl there. But in the NFC, these guys are going to love this. How about them? How about them Cowboys? Going to the Super Bowl in a rematch with the Bills. If you remember, they crushed the Bills, twice, Steve? Was it twice? Yeah. I think the Bills get their revenge and win the Super Bowl. Their first, finally, Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. So that's my NFL prediction.
Man of beer. Stevie D.
I love Ted introducing us earlier, but I think the Lions are a team that's going to actually fall down. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. So that's one of my predictions. But when I talk about Super Bowl, I see in the NFC, and I really hate the fact this is probably going to happen. I see the 49ers being back there, and every time I want to write them off, I can't. They just they're like that cockroach that you try to step on, you can't kill. And in the AFC, I'm going to go with the Chiefs again, just because the NFL is going to have Taylor Mania for the next 12 weeks, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Travis Kelce's going to retire on the football field on Super Bowl Sunday on a knee, doing the heart, and retire as he's signing his multi-million-dollar contract for his podcast, which they're already getting paid. We saw that today, if you guys saw. So that's my season prediction.
I don't like anybody's.
Oh,
They all suck.
I'm the Panthers too. Big fan.
I did my Panthers one earlier, so I'll let you guys talk about the Panthers.
So
For any Panther fan out here, I think this is a generationally bad team. That organization is a dumpster fire of all organizations. I think the Panthers probably go down as one of the worst teams in the history of the NFL. 2-15.
All I care about for the Panthers this year, they could go 16-1 for all I care, as long as that one loss is against the New York Football Giants, because we play each other this year, and God help me if we lose to that Carolina Panther team. That is grotesque in my mind. By the way, yeah, I'm glad to bring this up because, we've been doing the rotating schedule since 2002, where every team plays home and away with every team, and the Panthers, the Giants come here every 6 years, the Panthers go up there every 3 years, so I was all excited this year looking at Expedia and all these other travel sites, all that bullshit, like, the Giants are going to be here in the fall of 2024 and all that, and as the schedule came out, go back and listen to our older podcast. We talk about the schedule release when that came out in May now, and all the rumors that came out about the Giants-Panthers game being in Munich, Germany, as if, so there's some chop in Munich, Germany, like, ooh, we got an NFL game, and I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is going on? The Panthers are supposed to be here in Charlotte. I've been waiting for this for 2 years, and now, no, they're playing at 9:30 a.m. Instead of being downtown and uptown, whatever the hell we call that, downtown. So I can't watch my Giants beat the Panthers in person, Wendy, back there. And then, what we start this with? This was the Panthers. 16-1, losing to the Giants. It's actually, Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, I think. And they will win, somehow scrap out 4 wins. They'll go 4, and I gotta do my math again. It was 17-4, carry the 1, 13. Thank you guys. 4 and 13 for the Panthers. Thank you.
Awesome, Cardone. Thank you. I'm in lockstep with Novak on this. I think this Panther team they're putting out this year is historically a bad roster. Novak picked 2. Man, I don't even know how they get to 2. I'll go with 2 because it just seems like 1's too little and 3's too many. So we'll go with 2. But yeah, I hope one of them isn't in Munich. Let's just put it that way. I just think the Panthers are really bad, and the future doesn't look particularly good.
So I already gave my prediction on the Panthers, but can we give it up for David Tepper for bringing live music to Charlotte? Thank you. Oh, we didn't get a whole lot of applause there. The guy brought live music to Charlotte, for Christ's sake. So that basically wraps up our content. So do we have any questions that we want to talk about? You guys have questions? Raise hands.
All right, we got some questions.
Oh, we got some questions coming up here. Let's bring them up.
Is it okay that we put them on napkins?
That's fine. Napkins are
You don't
good.
know who they're from, though.
That's how Scientology was founded.
Yeah.
This is the Michael Scott at Dunder Mifflin suggestion box, apparently. So, for any of you Office fans out there.
All right, we got a question here on how do you get to be a guest on the podcast? Well, I will say this: Novak got to be a guest on the podcast by just being our friend, and now he is not just a guest. The guy's a member of our podcast. So anyone that, if you know any, we'll take former Panthers. I mean, we got guys. I just want to notice we have Jake Delhomme here in the front row. There he is, Jake Delhomme. We got Jake Delhomme. Daniel Jones, thank you for taking time out.
He also looks like the guy from Modern Family, so he'll remember. Hi, Burrell. He's a familiar-looking guy, let's be honest.
So it doesn't take much to be a guest. You could actually come in and just say, can I be a guest? That suffices.
So, Cardone mentioned earlier we have an agent now, so we will get you that information. You can contact him. And
Art Vandelay.
Art Vandelay, Vandelay Industries Talent Agency. He will come and he will give you a little interview, and we'll see if you got the stuff.
Well, we've got a number of near Giant questions here, so I think this is to the whole panel, and whoever wants to take this one. We've got a couple here, but I'll start with this one. Can we get a firm answer on how we feel about Daniel Jones? Who wants to take that one? Me?
All right, I'll take this one first.
Scott is volunteering for that question.
I have been a Daniel Jones fan from day one. Now the guy started here in Charlotte Latin here in Charlotte. He went to Duke, and from Duke he went to the Giants. And the guy's never had a good team behind him. And when he did have a decent team behind him was in 2022, and he went to the playoffs. So for me, we gave him a contract. I think we need to ride with Daniel Jones. Look at it this way. This year, he's either going to make it or he's not, and he's going to be gone or he's going to stay. And if he's gone, that means we've had a bad year, which is bad. And if he stays, that means he had a good year. And what I don't like, Tommy Cutlets is a third-string quarterback right now hanging on the roster, but I will say this. With Daniel Jones, if you're a Giants fan and you want him off the roster that bad, what are you going to do to replace him? This is all we have right now, and it's what we have to ride with for this year. And if he's not great, we're going to see the impact next year. And that's what people don't realize.
Can I answer that a little bit? So I've been a Daniel Jones supporter as well, and to the same reasons why Scott just mentioned, the offensive line, all that bullshit. Yeah, we understand. But, Jones at this point for me, I don't know. Like, this is either this year I'm finally, just done with this guy, I think, guys. I really am. He's like that comfortable pair of underwear that you just cannot get rid of. It still sits in your drawer, and it's got holes in it. It's just, every time it comes out of the wash machine, it's got one less thread to it hanging on. That's Jones right now. He's just hanging by a thread. Obviously we're stuck with him this year, so sort of like you with the dick, I'm stuck with Jones this year, so obviously, and of course I'm going to support him and look for his success this year. But I heard an interview this week, and this is for some of you hardcore New York, sports media listeners like Gio, right? Boomer and Gio. Gio was talking about the it factor with Daniel Jones, and people used to say that about Eli Manning, and I'm like, how dare you mention about Eli Manning and his desire and his fervor to win? Like, Daniel Jones, that's what he's missing. He does not have that. The guy's from Duke. What quarterback from Duke? Duke's got it. They're basketball. They're not going to produce Super Bowl champion. Front row there, right there. He sucks. Is that what I heard? Duke sucks. Well, yeah, we could talk we'll have to start a whole separate podcast talking about Duke basketball and how much we hate and despise them, and I could that's for another time there. But the question was, my answer to this is the make or break year for Jones. I think, and I don't see it this year. I predicted them to win 7 games, which is the over/under. Vegas has them, I think, winning 6.5 or some shit like that. So nobody thinks Daniel Jones is going to do anything. He may be a nice guy, and we gave him money because of that one playoff win at Minnesota, which was great. It's the only playoff win we have since Super Bowl 46. But as far as the future with Daniel Jones, no, done.
Yeah.
The question there was, can we finally get a firm answer? Neither one of you guys gave a very firm answer there. So I'm going to give a firm answer on Daniel Jones. I don't know. I have no idea. The guy's hurt all the time. I don't know. I don't know if he's any good. I feel like equally
job in Pittsburgh. Same thing, right?
I don't know. I have no idea. We could release this guy. He could go to a team and be a consistent, great starter, taking teams to the playoffs every year. That wouldn't surprise me. We could release him and he'd never play another down in the NFL. That wouldn't surprise me. So that's my firm answer on Daniel Jones. I don't know.
Good answer.
I like that. That's not bad. We got plenty. Yeah, we got one.
So we have a couple extra questions. 2 of them are very similar to each other, and it involves number 26 on the Philadelphia Eagles. I could barely mention his name. I'm not sure what row and section this came out of. I have a feeling it came from over here. And there were 2 separate ones. How many touchdowns will Saquon score against the Giants this year? And another one was, how badly will it hurt when number 26 scores a touchdown against you? Yeah, you'll hear me scream across all zip codes in South Charlotte here, because I've been saying the entire career of Saquon Barkley, who's been our only star. Imagine if this guy ran behind a functional offensive line instead of the bullshit he's been running behind in the New York Giants offense. So it's going to hurt like hell. He's going to run wild against the New York Giants. October 20th, week 7. I know the dates, and then last week of the season, which may or may not mean, or certainly won't mean anything for the Giants. Who knows what it'll mean for the Eagles? But how many touchdowns will Saquon score? Let me just put it this way. Start him in your fantasy lineup regardless of what's going on. That guy could trot out there with a high ankle sprain, and he's going to score at least 2 touchdowns against the Giants in the first game, and then at least 1 in the second game. So maybe 3 total touchdowns all season, not counting the yards and receptions and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's going to hurt like hell. Yeah. Appreciate the question.
Did you just say week 7?
I believe it was week 7.
So if it's week 7, for all you people that want to start Saquon Barkley, you may want to hold off because he might be injured by week 5.
Yeah.
So What I'm thinking here, and we have a question here on what's the
You won't
running
get as many hits behind that line, I'll tell you that, Scott.
No, but we do have a question here on what's the plan going to be without Saquon. And I'll tell you what, Devin Singletary has been a decent running back his entire career. He also can catch the ball. We probably won't lose a lot using him while saving the $10 million that we lost with Saquon Barkley.
Because you paid Daniel Jones.
Because we got rid of a running back who was often injured and didn't perform well.
That was the going rate for a dude.
You're hanging your hat on Devin Singletary. That's pretty freaking sad.
I'm not hanging my hat on Devin Singletary. What I'm saying is that Devin Singletary versus Saquon Barkley is not going to be a terrible difference, and we're going to survive. I think we'll be fine with that.
Wow.
I hope Saquon Barkley does well for the 3 weeks that he plays.
Yeah, Scott kind of stole my thunder there. I was going to go week 7. I'm not worried about Barkley because he won't be playing, but certainly not week 17. I'm not even considering that as a possibility. He hasn't done that for the Giants. So I kind of the plan to replace Barkley with Singletary. Obviously, I'm not going that far. That there's not going to be as much of a drop off, but I do think if the offensive line is improved the way they've looked in the preseason, that the running game's going to be fine. The other thing it does is we had a lot of 8-man in the box with Barkley back there, and the offensive line couldn't handle that. Constant pressure on everybody. I don't think we're going to see as many 8 in the box with Devin Singletary back there. So I think it's going to help the offense to not have the guy in the center of the backfield be the focal point of the defense every week. But, of course, there's not a lot of scary weapons on the Giants, so it'd be interesting to see how teams play us. But Barkley cost a lot of money when he was in the games, other than like his rookie year. He didn't perform. I don't think that was his fault. The offensive line was terrible. That got him hurt a lot. So I'm not as heartbroken as you'd think, but if he plays week 7, like Cardone said, he said 2 touchdowns, I say 5. They're going to, at least, that'll be the minimum. It's just the way it always rolls. But, yeah.
Well, his name is not Boston Scott, so
that's true. He might,
for the Giant fans that have seen him in his nightmares, Boston Scott. Yeah.
He might steal a couple touchdowns.
Yeah. We have another question that came in, and let's see, who has more New York Giants sacks? Super badass Oregon Duck Kayvon Thibodeau or Brian Burns? Well, Burns hasn't played a regular season game yet for the Giants, so if I'm interpreting this question correctly, does that mean that does he have more sacks in his career?
This coming year.
This year, okay, thank you. Hey, shit, I'll take either one. They both play for my team. I don't care. They can both fucking split a sack every time me and the quarterback each take a half sack, so I don't care if they each have 12 and a half. Whatever. That means 25 sacks. Whatever. I don't care.
Who has more?
Who has more? All right, let's go with the new guy. Let's go with the Panther guy. Let's go with Burns. Why not? We'll go with Burns. I got a thumbs down over there from this guy. What the hell?
I'll say this. Thibodeau was doing really well at the end of last year. I think Thibodeau is going to get more sacks than Burns. Burns is incredible around the edge. He's going to be a very good guy in terms of not only rushing the passer, but also playing the pass, which Thibodeau is more of just a pass rusher. So, for me, it's going to be Thibodeau.
He's throwing out there.
I think we're going to have, by the way, if I can make a prediction, we're going to have 11 sacks from Thibodeau and 9 from Burns, which is 20 there. That's good.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Thibodeau too, not just because I'm wearing his jersey up here, but if you're playing against the New York Giants, who do you double team? Thibodeau, Dexter, or Burns? I think if I'm a defensive coordinator, I double Burns. So I think that's going to help out Kayvon get probably in the end of the day. Be close, like Scott said, but I think Kayvon will get 1 or 2 more.
All right, so the last one real quick. How many times will they show Robert Sala's beautiful face on TV? That's what I'm talking about. He is beautiful and he's a great coach. So just so you know, Cardone here, my boy, found that this is a drinking game.
Yes.
And so when the 4 of us were out at a bar, we recognized that for whatever whatever reason, and we don't know why, the cameras show Robert Saleh on literally every other play. It became a drinking game for us. We would go, Saleh! And we would drink a drink, and we were hammered by the second quarter.
So as a follow-up to that, this is a question just for the ladies in the audience. So you may have to Google this if you're not aware of who Robert Saleh is, the head coach of the Jets. Is this guy supposed to be good-looking? I'm not. He's a good-looking man, with or without the beard, because he can grow one in about the time we finish this podcast. He's good-looking, Robert Saleh.
I take D'Amico over him, but yes.
Who?
D'Amico Ryan.
I don't know. That's so Robert Saleh. Okay, for the ladies, Google this guy and. Yeah, but to Novak's point, yeah, we invented this drinking game because the cameraman, for whatever reason, is absolutely enthralled with Robert Saleh. And they must show him, it doesn't matter if it's a good play, it could be a negative play for the Jets, a positive play. There's Robert Saleh on the, they have, I swear to God, they have, like, if there's a technical director, I studied communication arts in Randolph College of New Jersey, by the way, Mahwah, New Jersey, yep. Mahwah? Grandpa, wait a minute! Yes! My roommate lived in Ridgewood. Amen, brother. Yeah. I'm a road runner. You bet. There you go. Randolph College road runner. Division III. We used to beat the snot out of Montclair State all the time. Yeah. We never did. We lost them every damn year. We beat them one year, finally, in my senior year, where I actually ran onto the field, which was the size of a high school field, and I was one of the guys that brought I could say in my career, brought down a field goal post to which I had to hide and ditch from the deans those week because this thing had cost like apparently $2,000 back in 1990 to repair a field goal post, and that, I guess our tuition had to go. Who knows? They were trying to look for the guy that was responsible for bringing down the the field goal post right here. That was me. Oh, I lost my point now. Saleh. Yeah. Yeah. Evidently, Robert Saleh he's the GQ cover. The magazine cover of the NFL these days. And so start your own drinking game, join us. We usually partake in a drinking game every time they show Saleh's face. But yeah, the technical director, they obviously have a camera fixated on Robert Saleh. So there's a guy sitting there like, take camera 2, take camera Saleh, take 3, take Saleh again, 1 Saleh, and then that's the broadcast. So, I don't know.
So last year we were doing a drinking game with Saleh. Every time they showed Saleh, we would go, Saleh, have a drink. If there was bearded Saleh, which could have been a different guy from the first quarter to the second quarter because he grows that beard so quickly, we'd be bearded Saleh, and it would be a double drink. And then extended Saleh, which he'd be out there for a while, we would call extended Saleh, that would be a jug. So we had a good chat. We had a good laugh with Saleh. So I think that pretty much wraps up our pod, guys. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's been a great crowd. The Carolina Beer Temple's been a great sponsor. Again, thank Rob and Chris and the Carolina Beer Temple for all of their hospitality. And we hope to do this again sometime. I mean, we're out of town. We're not a Carolina Panther podcast. We're a Giants and a Jet podcast, and yet we have quite a few turnout here. So it's been great. We love it, and we're in season 5. So season 5 will probably turn into season 6, and from there, you never know what's going to happen. Once we get good, we might just sell out and give it to Barstool Sports. So you never know what's going to happen. You guys got any closing comments?
No, I would just say that we appreciate everyone coming out. Go to our website, angryfootballfans.com. Go to, Google us, 3 Angry Giant Fans. We've got podcasts all over the place. We've got rants. We've got pet peeves. Look, we're 4 guys that probably, at the end of the day, really just wanted to be in sports media, and this is the closest we're going to get to that. So, appreciate it. I love these guys. I'm glad they included me in this because, I'm the obviously oddball out, but I love it, and thank you, and please share our podcast.
Just a thank you for everyone showing up tonight, to our dear friends and to our new friends. That it's just
What about the guy in the Eagles jersey back
the
there?
Eagle jersey. I was at the Kelsey jersey. Kelsey's retired now, so I can be friends. Let's go have a beer, okay? All right. And for every championship that we've won, I'll take 4 sips to your 1, and so got to slip that in before we close here tonight. So thank you very much, everybody, for showing up tonight, and we hope to be back again. And thank you to the Carolina Beer Temple, to the staff, to Rob and Chris, who you mentioned. So we hope to do this again. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. I can't say it any better than these guys said. Would really appreciate you coming out. Had a good time up here, even though it's 186 degrees. Otherwise, get out of it. But thank you, everybody, for braving the heat and the traffic and coming out. We certainly appreciate it. And thanks again to Carolina Beer Temple. Just been an awesome partner in this whole thing. And don't forget, if you got one of those glasses, you get a free beer inside. I don't know if that got heard by everyone. Want to make sure. But have a good night. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.
Start spreading the news.